Live. I forgot to count you down, so I'm just gonna start talking.
Hey, everybody.
I took a Benadryl earlier. I'm on my best self
And
right
what
now.
everyone's their best self right now. That's we're all trying. That's all that
It's
matters.
true.
Anyway, welcome to another episode of Building Character, where we build characters using Onyx Path stuff. I'm Eddy Webb. I am the executive producer here at Onyx Path, and with me, of course, is always Dixie Cochran, our editor in chief.
Hello.
And I'm super low energy. I don't know why. It just felt like it was kind of a NPR vibe going there for a minute.
Maybe it's because you're in the middle of doing like 18 things at home.
That is true. Spoiler for the end of the episode, I suppose. But this is going to be the last one for a bit. We're going to go on hiatus after this because I'm in the middle of selling my house.
Yeah.
So not having a place to do like a green screen, a mic, and a light and all that, bit of a challenge doing a stream. So once we get all sorted out, I'm sure Dixie and I'll get together again and we'll do it because I think we've been having fun doing this.
Yeah, no, we've been having a really good time. But probably, I think probably at least through the holidays, we're gonna do a little hiatus.
Yeah,
And then we'll figure it out early next year.
yeah, that seemed a pretty good timetable. Because nothing else, we were debating taking a hiatus during the holidays anyway, because of
Right.
Thanksgiving in the U.S. and Christmas and whatnot. So I mean, we were already considering that.
And your
This is a
birthday.
little earlier. And my birthday, yes, for those who don't know, my birthday is December 24th, which is the best/worst time to have a birthday.
I have a friend who's on the 25th, which I think is worse.
It is slightly worse. You are correct.
Because at least things are like open on your birthday. You can go do stuff. On her birthday, she's like, I can go see a movie.
Well, you say that. I mean, it's changed in recent years, but for a long time, it was basically if I want to go out to eat on my birthday, it was basically Chinese restaurants,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. That's very different now,
Waffle
though.
House.
I
Yeah,
mean, Wawa's open 24/7.
right.
But
Although
yeah.
recently they've changed that.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because I know you're all everyone's here for the latest Waffle House news, so we're gonna go
No,
and do that.
this is just like the podcast. We've gotten onto a conversation that I am interested in now. They're not all open 24/7,
No,
three sixty
since the
five.
pandemic, they've actually introduced it, hours were closed, and also a lot of them, for a while, had drive-through windows. Not drive-through windows, but like walk-up order windows. And quite a number of them actually closed. So
This is all very strange to me.
yeah, I mean, for those that know, like Waffle House, like it was a legitimate like index for a while of like how bad the weather was.
Yeah,
If a Waffle House closed, that means like our tornadoes hit your town immediately.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, during the pandemic, it was a shock to all of us. It was like, wow, there's Waffle House closed. Wow, okay, that one's shut down, reduced hours. What is this? What is this nonsense?
Yeah, that's super weird. Like that's always been the place that I could reliably go, get hash browns and a cup of coffee at 4 in the morning or something if I was just like
Mm-hmm.
awake. Me and my friends used to sit at Waffle House all night and just fuck around and like drink coffee. We always tipped really well because we knew that we were being obnoxious and taking up a table. But like we
Absolutely.
would just sit there for hours when we were like teens, like playing cards and hanging out, just doing all kinds of shit. So, anyway, that's the Waffle House digression, I guess.
But speaking of being teenagers, that does
Yes.
actually tie into what we're doing today. So today, we're actually going to make characters for Scion Origin, but we're going to use the recent Scion High Tasty Bit as inspiration.
Yeah.
The Tasty Bit doesn't really have any mechanics for player characters or anything. It's more just kind of explanation of what the setting is, and there's also a lot of pre-made NPCs,
Yeah.
or sorry, SGCs, so that way people can implement the character. So it's really more just a whole bunch of plot hooks. So we don't have a whole bunch of mechanical bits, but we wanted to use this because, as Dixie pointed out right before we started recording, it's super easy to make new paths in Scion.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity to do student-specific paths just bespoke and show you how easy to just do on the fly. You don't necessarily need always an official book to tell you how to do it.
I need an official book, Eddie. If it's not in here, I can't do it.
If only you knew people who could write stuff into books for you,
If only I had written stuff into Scion for me, which I did. Um,
which you did. Yeah. But one of the advantages of working these books is like, I want this in the book. Oh, look, there it is.
there it is now. Yeah. No, yeah, this is gonna be fun because I have not thought about this character at all. Like often we come in here and we kind of like have a bit of a here's what we're gonna maybe make thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be way more interesting because it's just we're gonna make some high school Scions, some weird like. Do we want to make us in high school? Do we want to just make our like weird ass selves?
I mean, we could. I mean, we did that with Legend Lore, so I mean, we could try it again.
Yeah, but like you're trying to make like your high school self.
I was an asshole in high school, though.
I was also an asshole in high school, and I was unmedicated, so I was doing my best.
Well, I mean, but that's actually one of the reasons why I think Scion High is a fun concept, is because teenagers are jerks, but also gods are jerks. So it actually maps really well, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try to go with one of the lesser used pantheons this time. I think. What are you thinking about?
I don't know. Let's go ahead and share a screen first so I can
Okay. Look at this
do that.
handy tooltip. Handy tooltip is going up now. Character sheet.
So we have the nice handy dandy list of pantheons here. I just probably fit the width. There we go. Good job.
Good.
So in the past, I have played Theoi and Tuatha. Two ones I've mainly played.
Oh yeah, because you're Tuatha in our two-person game that Matthew ran.
Right. And there's part of me that kind of wants to play one of the Shen because I've been reading Romance of Three Kingdoms a lot lately.
Nice. Do it.
Yeah, no, I think I'll do that. So I'm gonna just caveat once, so I won't do it again, but there's a chance I may pronounce words incorrectly.
Yeah, we are not linguistic scholars in all of these languages. We are doing our best.
Right, but I'm just do it once, done it, don't worry again.
Yeah. I think that some people, and like, I'd be interested to hear your advice on this. I think that some people get a little bit weird about playing non-white pantheons if they are white people.
Yeah.
And I know that we've talked about this like on our podcast and stuff in reference to things like Harlem Unbound and other games that like explicitly encourage you to play people of color.
Right.
But with this game, one thing that's about it is that you don't have to be of the same ethnicity as the pantheon to be chosen by the pantheon.
Right, I don't have to be Chinese to be chosen by the Shen.
Right, but it's also okay if you play a character of a different race than your own, as long as you don't lean into any weird stereotypes or accents or things like that.
Right, if I were playing a member of the Shen and saying, "Cool, I'm Chinese American and I'm good at kung fu and I have a bad accent and I have a weird destiny," it's like, yeah, that's bad. But
all right, Mr. Carradine.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Or Iron Fist. But that being said, I think I'm going to lean into someone who's a couple generations American, probably still presents as white, even though he's chosen by the Shen. Because I think it'd be fun to kind of play in that space, see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
And I don't know. I keep looking at Sun Wukong.
Sun Wukong is super fun because that's Dragon Ball Z. That's
right, exactly.
Like that one's a really easy one that has cultural touchstones that even a lot of Americans will know.
Right.
A lot of folks don't know about the whole Monkey King myth, but it's really interesting.
But on the other hand, I'm also thinking of Wanju because the whole kind of general as student leader thing might be really fun to play with.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do Wanju.
All right, do it.
How about you? What are you thinking?
So I am actually interested in, I think, making a Teodal Scion.
A what?
The Teodal, the Essex.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
And yes, we do have a lot more pantheons in this to choose from now. We're just going off the ones in this book because we're assuming that for the purposes of this character creation system, we only have Origin and Scion High.
Right. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if you do have demigod or god and you want to pull those, you absolutely can for your origin level thing.
Or the companion.
Yeah. But we're trying to emulate minimum amount of books, also because it's less books to flip through.
So I'm also probably going to say a lot of these names wrong because I do my best, but I think I do want to make like the Scion Goth chick because that's what I was in high school and it's fun. But that means that I'm torn between its Papalodal, which is the obsidian butterfly, whose callings are hunter, lover, and warrior, purviews beasts all, darkness, death, fertility, stars, and war, or one that I don't know how to say at all, Mictecacatl, Queen of the Underworld. Because one of her purviews is literally bats. Which is kind of my favorite thing of all time.
It is your brands and darkness and death. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the weird goth theater kid because like guardian, leader, sage, but then like passion.
Hmm.
Yeah, yep. That's what I'm gonna do
Okay,
because that's fun.
then let's go through character creation. Actually, before we go in, kind of show you real quick. For those of you who haven't seen it, this is the Scion High Tasty Bit. Now, Tasty Bits are always really small. This one's 8 pages, and that's one of those pages is the credits page. Um, uh, but this is a lot of just information about the facility. It's officially known as the Trigomistos Academic Sanctuary, but everyone just calls it Scion High. It is set somewhere. We're assuming a default of the United States, but there are some bits of Japanese and British school culture in here as well to make it a little more universal, and B to hit on other touchstones of Harry Potter and lots of manga and anime high school dramas.
Yeah, but also you can set it anywhere with just a little bit of like reflavoring.
Right.
It's very easy to move around.
Right. So we'll assume we are set somewhere in the United States. So, for example, we're talking about football. We're talking about American football, stuff like that. And then there's some example characters and then advice for it. The one thing that's relevant for this is basically freshmen and sophomores are origin level scions, and then you go on your sophomore field trip when you ostensibly meet with your parents. Sometimes that parent-teacher conference doesn't work out very well. Sometimes it does. But then you become your hero level and when you're a junior and senior. So we'll be playing freshmen.
All right.
Okay. Now we'll go on to character creation. Oops, let's skip the ready-made characters. We don't need any of that nonsense. Let's make a fresh new character.
Yeah, I don't think that we need Eric Donner in our Scion High game. Get out of here, Eric
Although
Donner.
he would make a great quarterback.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so first is our concept. And we've kind of already talked a little bit about that with our Pantheon choices. So you're playing Weird Goth Chick. I'm thinking I don't want to do like the football captain, more like
like class president? Which you
or
would
shooting
be
for
at
class
14.
president. Yeah. I mean, as a freshman, I would be like aspiring to that kind of.
Yeah. And by the time you're like a junior or a senior, maybe you've been elected.
Right.
But you are still you're a popular enough kid that like you can lead your peers.
A community leader, probably a budding teenage activist.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna go more for like drama kid, goth kid, because that's the kind of goth kid I was. And also with the like sage and leader stuff, I think that would make sense for some of that. But also one of hers is guardian, and so I think maybe she also like looks out for other weird kids.
Nice. Okay, I take that.
Because she's unlike me in high school. I would say that she's popular enough from doing theater and stuff that like she has some clout, even though she's kind of weird.
Okay. All right. For a 2-player game, it makes sense that we have to kind of spread our wings a little bit more on that. We can't be as laser focused.
Right.
So normally we would do deeds here, as we've done for most of these story path ones. I tend to prefer to do deeds last because I think deeds make more sense once you know what you're doing. But for Scion purposes, we should note that we do have 3 deeds. One is a short-term deed, which is something we do in a single session. One is a long-term deed, which is kind of where you want your character to grow into. And then one is a band term or a group deed. So that's even more reason why we should do these last, because we have to figure out what our band is before we actually do that.
Right.
And there are specific kinds of deeds, themes, so conviction, courage, duty. These are only examples, but they're pretty commonly used. It's a pretty good choice selection of stuff I want to do. So let's instead go to paths.
Okay.
Normally we have origin, role, and society. I think these mostly still track, but because we're playing teenagers, our role is probably going to be a bit more how we fit, what clique we're a part of, you know?
Right.
How we fit into the overall high school social structure. But we'll start with the origin.
I would think it's probably going to be more of our society path, because I think your role is just pre-visitation Scion.
Well, in Scion specifically, society / Pantheon is part of the societal role. But So I mean, it is a bit of a double duty, and maybe we can play with that a bit when we get there. Because full disclosure, the roles are mechanically identical. So if you want to swap them around, it doesn't actually break anything in the game as long as you have three of these sets of checkboxes.
Right.
For Scion, the only one that's required is because we're playing previous station Scions, we have to have one of them be a Pantheon. But if we wanted to say our Pantheon one is also kind of our role one, and then we have our Society one as our click one, we could make that change right now.
I think we're gonna make the change right now because that makes sense to me.
Okay. So then let's start with our origin. And that should be more or less, like I said, as we have in normal character creation, because it's kind of things like life of privilege, chosen, military brats, suburbia, where you grew up, style of the streets. I mean, some of these don't make sense, obviously, like survivalist. But I mean, in terms of what your current home life is like, I'm probably thinking the be between suburbia and life of privilege. I'm actually kind of thinking life of privilege.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking rich kid.
Okay. Okay.
So paths.
I think that for the purposes of this game, it would be very fun to actually go with Potemkin World, which means that I have been raised to be a Scion. Which also means that I'm not very good with people who were raised elsewhere. It's kind of like, to use another Harry Potter analogy, and also fuck J.K. Rowling, but to use another Harry Potter analogy, like, it's the difference between being raised, like, as a wizard and, like, just finding out when you're older. So the people who are raised as wizards don't know as much.
So that could be fun because then you're not the weird goth kid because you're weird goth kid. It's that you're the person who's raised to be the queen of the underworld, and everyone translates that in our high school brain as goth kid.
Yeah. Because, like, it essentially says that everything from when you were born was a production by your divine parent to make sure you were prepared for the mortal world. Mm-hmm. But, like, there are a lot of things you're probably not gonna know. But, like, even my, like, this would mean that my, like, primary and secondary schools were also probably, like, full of Scions.
Mm-hmm.
Or I was homeschooled,
Right. So for each of these, each path requires a short description. Uh-huh. So I'm going to rewrite Life of Privilege to, let's see, rich, aloof parents. So that kind of gives a spin to it, but also it's kind of an implication of, like, life of privilege where they give you money and hope you go away, kind of thing.
Right.
So how about you?
I'm gonna do raised by what essentially amounts to cultists.
Okay.
Because they were worshippers of my divine parent, who I obviously haven't met yet because I'm pre-visitation. So it's just more of a, like, they've been prepping me my whole life. That doesn't mean they were bad cultists. It just means that they're cultists. Because cults in Scion have a really different connotation than they do in our world.
Yeah, they're not necessarily a negative connotation. It's just a private religion is really what cult means.
Yeah. So I was raised by, like, a specific sect of worshippers of my divine parent, who have prepared me to do all of the Queen of the Underworld things, but probably not to talk to boys at parties.
I love that. That's amazing. I can tell you how to resurrect the dead, but not about which streets you shouldn't have.
Which, honestly, as a neurodiverse person, I kind of really identify with her so far.
Yes.
Because there's so many times where I'm like, did I say the wrong thing? Oh.
Right. It's the, oh, look, all this implied social dynamics that I was never taught or explained.
All right, cool.
All right. So from our paths, since we're going to use existing paths now, so we the three skills that we have with that path, we had just checkbox off of our sheet. So means leadership, culture, and persuasion.
That's what you've chosen?
Well, those are the ones that come with my path, and then
okay, I have 4, so that's why I was.
Well, okay. So it's the way it's written. Actually, let me go back and show this real quick. So when you take your path, you get 3 skills. Um, uh, oh yeah, you're going. Okay, so 3 skills associated with your path. Which 3 skills it shows you up to? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you get 3 dots with your primary path in each skill associated with your primary path. Yeah. So sign's a little different.
Yeah.
So I think if you have 4, you could choose 3 of those.
Trying to remember what something does in Scion specifically, so I'm just going to look for a second.
Yes. Do you need to look up Potemkin World or?
No.
Okay. Yeah,
I
you
was
do have 4
looking at
skills.
skills.
I am actually wondering if that. No, okay, no. Some of the other paths also have 4 skills.
Where are skills in this book?
Skills are on page. They're in the chapter beforehand. Actually, no. I was wrong. I am full of lies.
You are full of lies.
Actually, that's quite an interesting question. Where are skills? Yes. All right. Skills are on page 58.
Oh, okay. Skills and arenas. There you go. I was trying to remember one thing about.
While you're looking it up, there's a question in chat. Also, leadership, culture, and persuasion are a nice combo. Yeah, they are. It is basically the I can convince you to do stuff for me combination, so it's going to be fun to play with. But also, are we going to do Scion God once it's released? And maybe you came in a bit late, so it's we're going to go on hiatus after this episode because I'm in the process of selling my house. So after the holidays, we'll reassess. But yeah, once Scion God's out there, I think it'll be fun to do a god. We've already done a hero on a previous stream, and we should probably do a demigod at some point too. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I've chosen my skills. What I was trying to remember was exactly what culture did in this game.
Right.
And so I have not taken culture because it means that I am less likely to commit a faux pas in societies around the world.
Right. No, culture would not be what you're talking about.
So I have taken integrity, occult, and survival.
Okay. So we're gonna this we kind of made the decisions that we're gonna combine our role and Pantheon paths.
Yeah.
Let's just do the Pantheon stuff now.
Okay.
We've already made that decision. So basically for the Pantheon, let me jump real quick because you automatically get 2 Pantheon skills for your relevant Pantheon plus 1 skill of your choice.
Yep. And they're all in this neat little sidebar that you just scroll to.
Yes, super handy. So I have athletics and survival.
It's trying to give me culture again. I guess I'll just not put any dots in it.
I mean, you can take it now. You can take it and not put dots in it. What was like once you put dots in it, you become really into it. But until then,
and then one more of my choice.
Yes. I'm thinking academics.
You're gonna be the smart leadership kid.
Yeah. Actually, wait a minute. No, wait. I should have taken academics before. I clicked athletics accidentally. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I had it. So then let me change that to occult.
Trying to be like me?
No, I think I might do the same thing you're doing, which is the sense of I'm gonna take as a path skill, but not gonna put points in it right away.
Yeah, I have added persuasion to mine.
And then my path. This is the most obvious one, child of Wenju.
I'm not gonna try to type her name again. I'm just gonna copy and paste it.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. And then so now we're going to do our actual society path, which is our clique. And since we don't have rules for that, we decided that we're just going to do this. We're just going to make a path.
Yeah.
And really all it is just a short description. When we pick 3 skills associated with the path. And then also we would pick context when we get to that stage, and then a path condition, which triggers.
Right.
So let's do the cliques first. And you had said kind of drama.
Got theater kid is what I've written down.
Theater kid. Okay. Would student council hopeful make sense? Because I'm not on student council yet. I'm a freshman.
Yeah, like you're like aspiring popular kid.
Actually, I'm okay with aspiring popular kid. So let's start with you. What skills would goth drama kid have?
Let's see.
Culture, obviously.
I mean, probably though. I am going to say close combat, which I will justify by doing stage combat because that's
Okay.
fun.
All right.
And choreography and things like that. I'm a little more graceful than some others.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's do. What if I should do academics or leadership? I think leadership would be good
Okay.
for the.
I was actually thinking maybe academics because you were trained a lot when you were younger, which means you probably know a lot. Although actually, maybe a cult might make more sense for the kind of stuff you
I
were
already
taught
have a
in.
cult, Lou.
Oh, okay.
I got it from being raised by cultists.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
I'm looking at either subterfuge or academics. I'm gonna go subterfuge because I can lie because I'm an actress,
Actor, right?
and also because when I Dixie Cochran used to do theater, I used to do a lot of tech theater, and so I was backstage running around trying not to be seen.
Oh, nice. So I'm also going to take close combat because I'm going to say that I was trained how to fence because that seems like a rich kid thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, I like
Um,
it. I like it.
mm, uh, Empathy, um,
Yeah, sure.
because I have to be able to connect to people.
Yeah, we have very similar
And
skills right now, which is really interesting.
right, and that's what you want to debate. I'm debating integrity.
Which I already have to. So
Well, the integrity is subterfuge, which you have both of those. So,
yeah.
actually, you know
What
what?
about science?
I was actually just thinking
You're like a
science.
smart kid.
Because popular kid. I mean, there's the whole the mass media culture of people interested in science are the quote unquote nerds and therefore unpopular. But it seems, based on what chatting with some friends of mine who have younger kids, that seems perception needs to be changing a little bit. So I'm going to assume that's true for our game. That just because I'm automatically interested in science doesn't mean I'm unpopular.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, that's we are not beholden to the stereotypes of John Hughes movies. Like there's
Right.
like when I was in high school, and maybe this was in the the early aughts, but like one of my good friends that I went to class with all the time was like a student council president, captain of the swim team guy. He was like like really popular, and
Mm,
we were cool. We were friends, and I was this weird ass goth chick. So like those rules don't apply anymore.
yeah, it's true. Path conditions. It looks like all paths ultimately have the path suspended or path revoked condition, so I don't think we have to worry about that. In this case, suspended or revoked simply mean you're not invited to parties and the whatnot, and then revoked is that you're actively shunned.
Yeah, which I
So
mean that does happen in high school.
right, so it actually maps very well as a path, actually. But so that worked out really well.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we actually prioritize our paths as primary, secondary, tertiary.
Okay.
So what is the one thing you're known for? In your case, probably I'm guessing it's your Pantheon path.
Well, kind of. It's going to be raised by cultists, which is my origin path.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
feel like
Okay.
everyone knows like that weird like because once again I was once in high school and everyone's like that girl was homeschooled, she's weird.
Mm,
And I feel like that's probably just a thing people know. Like, hey, go ask so and so if she knows what a cell phone is. Just whatever.
mm, okay, that's fair. Um,
And you get 3 dots in each of those.
yeah, so for your primary path, you get 3 dots in your primary path, 2 in your secondary, and 1 in your tertiary. Um, I'm gonna go with aspiring popular kid as my primary path. Child with 1 2 is my secondary, and original with parents is my tertiary. And I just realized I don't remember which skills or which now.
Oh no, you didn't make a note.
Well, I do remember the ones we chose for aspiring popular kid because we made those up. So by deduction, I'm pretty sure it worked out this way. I'm pretty sure my parents. Oops, I did that backwards. Yep, I screwed that all up.
Eddy, how could you?
It's fine. Easy fix. Actually, you know what? That was on you. Someday I'll get this right.
I like that you're just doing that instead of just filling in the dots, which is what I'm doing.
That would make more sense, but I've decided I have started on this road. I'm gonna finish it. And see, there we go. Okay. So put 3 dots in each of these, 3 dots in each of these, each of these. In the chat, there are 2 people in high school who spread a lot of rumors and fake info about me with the goals of making it harder for me to make friends. Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's real.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
weird.
real.
People are not great.
But again, I mean, like it's interesting that one of the reasons why I was so excited about doing this tasty bit as a developer was because the politics of gods and the politics in high school map weirdly well when you start thinking them through.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff is exactly the kind of stuff you see in like Greek and Roman myths, for example. So I really, or as I was saying earlier, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There was a lot of that stuff happening in that story. Okay, so these dots are cumulative. Okay, so if we've completely spread out our paths, but if we had multiple skills in the same path, we could have 2 of each, and those dots would add together. We didn't do any of that, so we have a much wider spread.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about anything with 3 or more dots. Choose a specialty. That is only free during character creation. So close combat is fencing. Empathy is.
I picked reading intent for mine.
Unity. What was yours?
Reading intent.
Okay.
Like seeing if someone's being weird to me.
That makes sense. Science. Chemistry. Some of the chat said, "Oh, the coincidence, the founder of the school has the same name as a famous football player." Really? I didn't even notice that.
Wait, what is?
Apparently, the founder of Scion High is the same name as a famous football player. Shows you how much you know about football.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kind of coincidences happen in real life, so I'm fine with it. But that's funny. I didn't know. That's really great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's character specialty? I may apply that expertise as a 1-point enhancement to other related skills, which is specialties in other story path games.
Right.
So that's how that works. Attributes. You have 9 attributes in 3 arenas. Yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada.
Rank the 3 arenas. Most way they're most adept, not necessarily the way the character preferred. Each rank, blah blah blah. So it's 6, 4, 2. We've all done story path before, so let's just jump to that part.
Okay.
So physical, social, mental. I think we're both gonna maybe skew physical last.
Probably.
So we're gonna get beat up a lot.
That's okay.
So I guess it comes down to like, I think both of us could make an argument for
either social or mental.
Yeah, right. So I'm actually figuring like, which one would you prefer to lead on?
I feel like it would make more sense for your character to be more social than mine.
Okay. What I'm thinking then maybe is I may go light on manipulation to give you some room for that as an actor.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's like the main thing I'm going to put dots into, I think. And presence.
Right, then I'll go heavy on presence and composure, which makes sense for the trying to be popular.
Right.
And just the not good at lying. Sometimes the hitboxes on these interactive sheets are a little touchy.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, so then mental. I'm gonna go pretty heavy intellect.
I went really heavy resolve.
Okay.
And like mine's 4 resolve, 3 cunning, 2 int.
I'm just gonna do 3, 2, 2. And then physical. I'm gonna go a little high on dexterity and low on might because.
Oh, is it 643? I thought it was 642.
Oh, it's 642. You're right. Sorry. I'll do that then.
That makes sense. I have might and dexterity, so.
Because there are additional dots after that. So, because attributes and titles have an approach. Blah blah blah. Yep. Approach. You get 2 additional dots for each of the attributes to favor approach.
Yes.
And if you would get more than 5, you can then move that dot to another one in the same arena.
I think I want to go with power.
Okay. I'll go with finesse.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. Wait a minute. Actually, I think I'll go with resistance. Because the more I look at it, resolve and composure, things makes more sense.
Right.
So 2, 1. I'll move the other dot to presence. So I'm real pretty. Like, I cannot lie to save my soul.
I also have a decent amount of presence, which I think would make sense for the
Oh,
character.
sure. As an actor, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have no composure.
Um, okay. So that's favorite brooch, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that. Calling and knacks. Callings are archetypes that exist within stories of humanity binding the gods to fated roles. If your character's a pre-visitation sign, your calling must from one of your divine patrons' 3 favorite callings.
Yes.
So let's jump back to the appendix. She's looking up hers in the physical book, like a savage, while I'm using my super cool.
You mean my beautiful kickstarted, traditionally printed copy of Scion that I've had for many years?
I'm jealous of your traditionally printed one, honestly.
It's lovely. Also, unlike Trinity, I can actually show this one on stream. It doesn't go away in the blue screen.
Yeah, it doesn't have that blue stage. So as
and you pick one, right?
Yeah, you pick one of 3. So I have guardian, leader, or warrior. I think leader we already kind of agreed on, so I'll just lean into that. And as you see, there's only 1 slot on the origin sheet for calling.
I think I'm gonna go guardian.
Yeah, you talked about that before, so that tracks. Assign it 1 dot. All right. Bloop. 1 dot. There it is. And then choose a single mortal knack appropriate to your calling.
1. Yep. 1 single one.
1 single knack.
Oh no! Where are the knacks?
Starting on page 104.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm going to jump right to the leader connects. That was something Neil and I did when we were first working on Scion. I kept calling them connects.
Yeah, of course you do, because that's what we all do.
So let's see. Now, for some days, we're going to have to tweak a little bit for a high school setting. Wanju was the general on the side of the good guys. Yeah, define good guys in the Romance of 3 Kingdoms. There was a lot of different factions and then change. But I believe you're right. I believe Wanju was the one who was such a good leader. He eventually became a god.
Yeah.
I have not gotten to that section of the book yet. I'm still in the Lubu is the biggest himbo of the planet and gets beaten by literally everyone that walks past him stage of the book. So the captain of industry makes sense for me. That's when you take charge of a group. I get bonuses. Cloak of Dread, no, that's the thing. Good listener is actually pretty good. Lighthouse of Society is pretty good. That's people aren't afraid when they're around me. Actually, let me read that one. The intense heat of her chaotic situation, you stand as a beacon of certain leadership. Your presence is a bulwark against fear and panic. As long as the crowd is not frightened directly by magical means, you get a group of students to act calm and do as you say in an orderly fashion without needing to roll. A supernatural situation requiring clash of wills. Ooh, yeah, no, done. I'm taking that one. Lighthouse of Society.
I like it. I'm going to take a non-calling knack.
Oh, okay.
If I can do that.
Can you do that?
Yeah, there's 4 knacks at the very beginning that are for any calling.
Oh, right. You can take one of any ones. Yes.
Yeah, so I am picking Aura of Greatness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which means that I'm gonna put it on Persuasion. So something about the pre-visitation Scion affects people around them. They can be radically inspirational, the perfect confidant, or horrifically scary, depending on their origins and demeanor. Choose leadership, empathy, or persuasion, and the Scion may add an enhancement to as a bonus that type of roll once per session. So, yeah.
Nice. I could see you maybe down the road also picking up Born to be Kings, though.
Yeah, I do also like that one. Like, honestly, I kind of like all of these any knack ones. Especially like for a character who was raised like kind of by their divine parents, religious people, like Born to be Kings makes sense. Set the divine, and then somebody's watching me.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did that actually, because I also often do exactly what it is. I jump right to my calling next,
right?
And I always forget the ennies and the ennies are good. They're all really good, frankly.
Yeah, and like this is one of those things that I pretty much only trained myself to do because of Exalted Essence and having all the universal charms.
Yeah,
Because it's like, no, you need those. Like, please take some universal charms.
that's true because yeah, there's certainly some of those universal charms. It's like no, you want the armor one. You
Yeah.
want the.
Also, pardon my allergies, folks. I'm doing my best here.
That's fine. It happens. So that's that. Then the finishing touches. We're already to the end. Okay, so you get 5 extra skill dots. Let's do this first.
Yeah. But they have to go in skills you already have, right?
Nope. Anywhere you want.
Anywhere I want.
Anywhere you want, Dixie.
I can take new skills.
You take anything you want. So I'm gonna take. I'm actually gonna take a lot more integrity. I feel like I was gonna take integrity at one point and I didn't, so integrity makes sense.
Yeah.
Taking that on leadership, that's 4. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna move a dot out of integrity and move those last 2 dots into persuasion because I'm super low on persuasion.
Trying to be like me?
I am. Do I need to move things around a bit more?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm just teasing you. We have some similar skills, but I think that's one of the things that's cool to showcase is that the way that we're gonna apply them will be completely different. You know?
Yeah, no, totally. And also, it's a digression, but strict reading of the rules. If any of these went to 3 or above, they also still get free specialization at this point. So it's another way to kind of show that these characters are moving different directions. So I'm going to make my specialization leadership trust me. And persuasion is winning smile.
Nice.
Which is going to be very different from what you're doing.
Yeah, my persuasion. Well, I haven't added a persuasion one yet, but for subterfuge, I just wrote acting because that went to 3. You
should put an exclamation point at the end. Acting.
Yeah, acting. I've said no acting.
Very important. Okay, so next, an extra attribute dot because you need more attribute dots.
I mean, baseline scions are supposed to be really good at like a lot.
So. No, totally. I'm gonna. Part of me is like, I should fill on the second dot of manipulation, but it's like, I really like the idea if you just can't lie. So I'm just gonna give myself a point of dexterity.
I think I'm gonna give myself a point of composure. I think she has learned how to compose herself.
Okay.
And since mental was my primary, and was my secondary, I don't have an extra dot in social.
In the chat, it's like the winning smile, especially because it applies every time smiling makes sense. Yeah, it's a good one that doesn't feel useful until you start realizing as long as you're, hey buddy, how's it going?
Yeah.
Please don't shoot me. So now we can take either 2 initial knacks or 4 points of birth rates. Now, I'm thinking, Dixie, you might probably have more birth rates than me because you were trained for this.
Maybe.
So you probably have like a bunch of stuff you have access to.
Probably.
I'm going to look at the birth rates, but I feel like I'm going to go for more knacks because I don't know who my parent is yet. I suspect, obviously, because I'm here, but I don't know if I know who that is yet. Where are birth rates? Oh no, they're in hero. That's why they're not in here.
They are mentioned in here.
Right. Is it one of the appendices, maybe?
Here, I'm looking. No, I think they're just mentioned as like a thing that you can get.
Okay, yeah, because they're not Hero 201. So, never mind. I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to go ahead and go right to knacks. And since we were talking about how awesome the ending knacks are, I'm going to go ahead and check those out again.
Right? They're good. Do these can these be from other callings for your extra ones?
That's a good question.
Because I thought they can.
Let me double check. Uh, 4 points individual knacks. It doesn't specify.
Yeah, I think you could just take knacks.
So let me see.
Here we go.
Okay, so here's what it comes down to. It specifically says the calling chooses the source of your knack singular. And then
Right.
later on, it says choose a single moral knack appropriate to their calling from the lists.
Yeah, but look at the character creation example under that.
Right. And that it goes on to say you can purchase additional knacks for final step. It doesn't say anything about those knacks that need to be in that calling. It's just that your calling doesn't constrain your knacks. Your calling gives you a starting point for your unusual abilities.
Right.
So yeah, no, I think you're right that it is implicit that you can pick other callings.
I like it.
That said, I still want to try. I'm debating someone's watching me.
That would be fun for you, especially if you don't know who your divine patron is.
Right, exactly.
You're just kind of like,
what is that?
Where'd these guys come from?
And since one of my leaders thing is academics, I can totally see like me getting into trouble and then someone slides in the conversation. Well, actually, according to the bylaws in school,
Right. No, I like that.
2 mooks or 1 professional. Nice. Yeah. Just and also for popular kid, it makes sense that people just show up and help me out.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Cloak of Dread.
Yes.
Which is a protected aura of menace that terrifies and intimidates anyone who would dare cross you. Spend momentum and double your successes on any knack skill rolls to intimidate targets.
That's amazing.
It just seemed like fun.
I'm gonna see what my other callings are because I may kind of like foreshadow a future calling. Guardian leader warrior. I thought warrior was one of them. So let me check the warrior ones real quick. I think there's some social warrior ones. Yeah, the biggest threat actually.
Yeah, I am taking all of mine from actual callings that I can have. So.
Yep. Okay.
I'm taking presence of magic, which means I can sense magic.
Oh, nice. Good
which
call.
makes sense because I have a whole bunch of occult.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I've been trained to sense this. Yeah, like you always know when you're near an object or place of true magical or sacred power. How this manifests is up to you. Ask the story guide if an object is magical or sacred, and she must tell you honestly yes or no. This bypasses the need to make any kind of occult roll to identify a place or sacred object.
No, that makes a ton of sense.
So I can identify it, and then I can roll my occult to get more information.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be like, hey, this is magical. How is it magical? You know?
Right.
I like it.
All right. Next is our movement dice, which is athletics plus the higher of might or dexterity. Which for me is the higher of might or dexterity because I don't have anything else. So 3 dice.
Same, and also 3 dice.
Defense is generally based on stamina. So just jot down stamina. Sometimes there are things that modify that, but yeah, not often.
My defense sucks.
And then health is we have a bruised, injured, maimed, and taken out. Take additional 1 if your stamina is 3 or additional bruised if you're 3 or 4. Take 2 bruised if your stamina is 5. I have stamina of 4, so I'll take another bruise. I'm sorry, hold on. Double check. Bruised, injured, maimed, and taken out. Okay, so I guess there's not quite enough bruised on the default sheet, but that's fine. Yeah. I don't need it yet. When I'm here, I'll worry about that. And that's it. That is tweaks.
We didn't do our deeds or put our virtues down.
That's true. So let's do the virtues first. I'll jump to again the appendix. They're not here. Okay, no, then they are in the virtues section.
I think there's a nifty sidebar somewhere.
There is. I just trying to remember where it is.
Well, I'm looking at 162, 163. Because I have an index in front of me.
Yes, right here.
Ta-da!
Okay, so for Shen is Ying versus Yang. No, that makes things easy.
Mine's hunger versus sacrifice, and I love that for my character.
Yeah, and then Slency had mentioned it in the chat too. So it's like, yep, good timing. We're all on the same page, literally.
We found it.
I'm curious. The passivity of Yang with the activeness of Yang, knowing when to refrain from acting, when to act with total force. Okay, yeah, that tracks.
I like it. I like it.
And you were saying also our
deeds.
Right. So I think it's probably best to start backwards. What is our band's deed going to be? What are we going to be known for as a group?
I think a lot of that would depend on what kind of story we were planning to tell with these characters.
Right. So, I mean, I'm assuming this is going to be one of those kind of classic high school dramas of two kids from very different social groups get shoved together and become friends despite everything.
I was thinking kind of that too, and like we help each other achieve our goals.
Right.
Like you do something, like I get you to come perform in the school play because we're missing a character, and you do that, and then in return, like I make you the absolute best campaign signs I could possibly make, and I like write your speeches because I have really good,
vote for him or else.
That too, I could intimidate people into voting for you.
Voter intimidation, yes.
So I think just like I don't know, mutual benefit.
Yeah. Which, we help each other. We help each other out.
Yeah.
For
we gecko.
Yes.
We help.
Turns out trying to type when not looking at the keyboard sometimes doesn't work out.
Why do you think I'm so glad that you're the one whose thing is showing? Because I'm a terrible typist when I try to type real quick. Long term.
My long term is obvious. Get a position leadership.
Yeah.
So yours is probably like get a prominent part.
I think that my long term goal is actually being accepted.
Oh, okay.
By the other kids. Because getting a prominent part, I don't think is that hard for me. That's probably going to be my short term deed.
Okay.
But I think that long term, she wants acceptance by her peers, which she can get with your help.
Right.
You can normalize me.
And I'm thinking like, especially because we decided on an aspiring popular kid means that I am not a popular kid yet. And the more we talk, the more I'm imagining my character, because again, has no subterfuge, no manipulation.
Right.
He's thinking, well, I'm really good at my job, so I should be in charge, not understanding that that's not how that works. So I could see you also helping me out in terms of like, okay, I've been ostracized enough to know that you can't just walk up to a group and say you're in charge.
Yeah, but I can also do things like start rumors and like.
Right. So you can do the social engineering side of things.
I can also listen in on every girls' bathroom conversation.
Oh yeah, true.
Just to be helpful.
So short term, I'm guessing then is learn the dynamics. How about that?
There we go.
Actually, better at read the room. That's probably phrasing that.
I like it, and I just put part in the school play for mine.
Okay.
Because I feel like once again, like I went to a performing arts high school, and for freshmen got roles on things. Maybe not the lead, but I feel like for her first year, like this would be like her first year goal, and then once she's attained that, right, then we can start getting bigger short term goals. And I think that she would go into the game doing part in the school play, and then by once that was achieved, even if it's a really small part, the story will probably have moved on to something more intriguing. And they'll actually be able to do a short term deed based on the game itself. Say like, like figure out what X thing does. So yeah.
Also, we do our contacts. So I mean, and I feel like for Scion High, your origin contact is basically going to be your parents, if you have parents, or whoever your guardian is.
I put cultists because
that
I don't think I actually had parents.
Okay.
I think I had tutors and cultists and stuff. I was raised like a really rich kid. Where it's like, oh, you have nannies and tutors and weird people, but they're actually all just part of this cult. I like it.
Then for my Child of Wanju contact is Archimedes Smith, who's just this weird kid who keeps telling me all this stuff about Chinese history that I'm like, I don't know why you're telling me this. Okay. And then aspiring popular kid Jack Morgan is my into the popular kids. He's the popular kid who thinks he sees something in me.
Uh-huh. I like it. I like it.
So, oh yeah, and of course the Chronicle is Scion High. And we are names. We have to name our characters.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. I usually use name generators, honestly.
Yeah, I usually just pick a name that I think is fun and then just go with it.
Right.
I do think that I'm gonna make my character of Latin origin, but she's lived in America
Mm-hmm.
most of her life. So let's go. Here with Michael.
Yeah, and I'm debating, do I want to take a Chinese last name or not? Because on the one hand, that would make sense, even though my character is white presenting. On the other hand, a fair number of Chinese families about 100 years ago decided to change their last names to
Right.
avoid being othered. I'm going to go with Young, with the idea that his family name at one point in time was Yang.
Okay. Okay. That is something that you can, attach to your past too, which is cool.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with. I think I want to have a really kind of fancy sounding name that makes me even a bit stranger to modern American kids. So she's going to be Magdalena.
Gabriella.
Magdalena.
Magdalena. Oh, that's even better.
I love Magdalena. I'm now looking at lists. I got a name, or then we got to get off the stream real soon. So
yeah, I know. Most important part.
let's go with Flores. Flores.
So going through the chat real quick. Question do origin level scions have scion virtues? Yes, we just I've gone through that. Admittedly, the virtue section is a little hard to find, as you noticed, but it is there.
It was like the first story path book. We've gotten a lot better since then.
Right. There was an anime where Lubu fights Thor, which that tracks. Surprised me in the least. So yeah, what'd you name?
I named her Magdalena Flores.
Flores. Okay, excellent.
So yeah, do you wanna switch back over to the other view so we can say goodbye? All right, you are.
And then so there you learned a fact. We made a character, Scion High, and again, this is to kind of show you that I think there's a lot of flexibility in story path that sometimes isn't always immediately obvious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's so easy to make up a path. I make a path for most of my story path games that I play, at least one of them, just for fun, because I'm like, none of these quite fit what I want to do, but I know what I want to do, so we're gonna do this. And I think that's one of those things. Is Scion High gives you a really good setting, but you do want to tweak it a little bit because you're probably not going to be a kid who is in the military, for instance, because you haven't gotten old enough yet to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you could be like a Boy Scout, which would have you a very similar vein,
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you weren't a street kid, but maybe you did grow up as kind of a latchkey kid, and so you still have some street smarts, but they're not equivalent to urban survival.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So that's origin level characters. That's Scion High.
Yep.
It's definitely worth checking out. It's only a couple of bucks on Drive Thru RPG. So I mean, if you're interested, it's a cool setting. Obviously, we think it is, but as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, totally.
So if people want to talk to you about your character, where would they find you online?
Dixie Cyanide, pretty much everywhere. And the Onyx Path Discord is a really good place to talk to me. And also, Eddy said at the beginning, we are going on hiatus after this, so we will make an announcement when we're coming back.
Yep, absolutely. So keep an eye on Twitter or on the Discord that Dixie and I are both very frequently at. And also you can reach out to me at pugdaddy.com, as you can spell it down there. Thank you for doing with us for this episode. I almost said issue run. This 6-episode run.
6-issue run.
Yes, this mini series, if you will. But yeah, we will put a post out if and when we come back. So until then, we'll catch you all later.
Okay. Bye.